Welcome to another episode of Tactics, and this time you join me at the famous Linear Fisheries complex in Oxfordshire. Now during this series we are going to target individual lakes as we work our way through them, but first up is Brasenose 2, where hopefully we're going to be able to build a big hit of fish, and I'm going to show you exactly how to turn a good session into a great one. So come with me. Brasenose 2 is one of the busiest day ticket waters in the UK. Part of the famous Linear Fisheries complex, known for its big fish stock and non-stop action. So we are finally set up, and I can tell you it's absolutely blistering. We're expecting heat of 25 degrees over the next 2 days. However, you join me in swim 8 on Brasenose 2. Now it is a peg I've fished before. The reason we're here is because when we arrived this morning, the gentleman in here had quite a lot of fish, fishing just the evenings and early mornings, floater fishing. So there was evidently a lot of fish here. It's a swim that I have fished before as well, done rather well on Tactics a couple of years ago, and I'd fished to 40 pounds. So I've got the spots in mind. It's probably going to lend itself to more evening fishing and early mornings, especially off the bottom, but obviously we have got zig fishing and surface fishing if we need it as well. So the rods are out there. I've currently got one on a zig that I'm just roaming around. I've got 2 solid bags on a spot that I've fished before with just 6 bombs of bait over it to try and nick a bite. Fingers crossed. Let's catch a few carp. Peg 8 sits on a point, so I'm keen not to put too much pressure on any one area. I've been seeing fish mostly over to the right and a few showing hard left. So the first line of attack, 2 rods out at 13 wraps, and the left hand rod I'm going to set as a roaming rod at 20 wraps, especially as the days are warm. We'll start there and adjust as we go. I'm using our 18-pound fluorocast fluorocarbon coated mainline, which is great for concealment and strengthening the weed. Okay, so we are into our first carp. It's not taken that long, to be fair, probably an hour, something like that. I put 6 bombs of chopped worm and corn out, 2 solid bags over the top, and yeah, within the hour they've gone. I'm only fishing short range as well, which for linear is, I wouldn't say it's unheard of, but it's definitely not the norm. A lot of the time you're fishing out long range. The wind's actually coming into this side point and there's a lot of fish showing in short. So rather than go against the grain and ignoring them, found a little spot of 13.5 wraps, and yeah, just put 2 rods on it. And it's not taken long, so hopefully this is a sign of things to come. Definitely got the tactics right. I mean, I did actually fish this peg, to be honest with you, probably 2 years ago, actually on Tactics, but the Instagram series. And I had 33 fish to 40 pounds on that exact same spot. So I have actually fished in here before, and they say lightning can't strike twice, but clearly in this case it can. So right, let me concentrate now and get this one in, and we'll be off the mark. It's not a bad fish, that, you know. Bigger than what you think. Yeah, 25. That'll do. Good start. Well, there we go. First fish of the session. A lovely scaly mirror, 25 pound. Like I said, it didn't take too long, so hopefully there's more to come where this one come from. When it comes to bait and fishing linear, it could not be any simpler. You can literally, when they're on it, put anything out there and catch carp, whether that's boilies, pellets, or the baits I have in front of me here. You will literally on the day catch on anything. However, for me, the simpler the better. So I've got 3 ingredients here that I'm going to be using, keeping it nice and clean, and I know they all work. So without further ado, let's knock this bad boy up. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a nice handful of worms. Again, I just shake off the soil. And that is literally it per mix. Now again, you can come here and put buckets and buckets of bait in, but I've never actually done particularly well like that, because if the chances are, if the lake's switched off, you're causing yourself more damage than good. The fish have got to clear up a load of bait before they even get to your hook bait. So for me, little and often, catch a fish 3 or 4 spoms, catch a fish 3 or 4 spoms, keeps the bites coming, and you're not waiting around for hours waiting for a bite to come. Next up, a decent pair of worm scissors. I'm just going to chop up the worms, making sure they're all nicely cut. And again, like I said, they go a long way. So all those individual bits of worm doesn't look much in the bucket. However, you don't want to feed the carp on them. All you're doing is you want the attraction and the amino acids that come with the worms in the swim and on your spot to basically then get the carp switched over to your real food items, which is going to be the corn and the hemp. So make sure they're all nicely thoroughly chopped up. Next up, just going to put half a tin of corn in. And again, with the juices, because all that remaining soil in there again is just going to infuse with them juices and also make a nice cloud as your spom hits the water. So just give that a mix around. So now we've got that nice sort of sweet corn juice and those amino acids from those worms nicely mixed. And last but not least, some hemp seed. And again, like I've mentioned, this is more of a keep the fish grubbing around, because I'm not filling it in with bait. I want it to take the carp a little bit longer to clean my spot up when they come in and have a munch. And there we have it. Nice, easy, clean, but very attractive mix that has definitely served me well on this session. And like I said, there's probably 3 or 4 spoms worth of bait in there, but each time I've had bites straight afterwards and it's kept those carp coming.
Well, let's hope it does. With the weather warming up nicely and the carp showing on the surface, there's no better time to break out those floaters.
You're pulling that way onto another. What's it gonna be? Where's your head at? Where's my head at?
Well, it's been a really frustrating day. I knew it was going to be tough anyway. 25, 26 degrees, it's the first real heat wave of the year. And even though surface fishing and zigs play a huge part in that, they just really haven't been bothered. However, since the sun's gone down a little bit, it's got a little bit cooler, and we've had another bite off the spot. I've just got 2 rods out there, and I've been feeding the mixers, and they're absolutely going ballistic out there on the surface now. So yeah, hopefully this means we're going to have a good evening, and looks like I've got another Oxfordshire scaly on. Okay, so round up to day 1. It's been very frustrating. The fish clearly have other things on their minds. They're not spawning, but they're definitely starting to group up. It's been red hot today. They've literally not been bothered in anything. However, stranger things have happened. In the hours of darkness, we could get a few bites, but the Brasenose Lakes are definitely notorious for daytime bites. We've got tomorrow morning, first thing, when it's a little bit cooler still. Yeah, still confident of a big one. Let's get this one back.
Night bites aren't that common on this lake. However, as the clock strikes 12, we get another take on the right hand rod.
Okay, so not long after we put that first fish bite, I've still got the glove on. I was just putting some more bait out. I'd made enough mix up just for 5 or 6 spoms, and yeah, set it at a fish on the way down with a bag, and lo and behold, as I was spotting, the same rod has gone again. So Okay, so it is around midnight, and yeah, we've just had an absolute ripper off this one. I wasn't feeling very confident, to be fair. Like I said, I can count on one hand the amount of nighttime bites I've had out of here. When you look around the lake, everyone else is in bed, there's no lights on, so yeah, I feel very privileged to have caught this one. 29 common, and as I recast a solid bag, I actually hit a fish on the way down as well, so I'm going to put a few more spoms out there. Hopefully there's more to come, but yeah, rather than keep this fish till first light, I wanted to get it done from a fish safety aspect. You know, it's been really hot during the days. I want to get him out, show you, get him back, get them spoms out, and then get back to bed.
It's a beautiful start to the morning, and as bite time kicks in alongside the wildlife, we're into yet another Linear Fisheries carp.
Pretty hectic night. Yeah, proper eating my words now about the nighttime bites. I think because it's been so hot during the day, they've got the heads down at night, and this is bite number 9 overall. A lot of them since 2 o'clock this morning. Yeah, I've just got one in the sling. That's a lovely mid-30, so we'll get that out as soon as I land this one and take a look at it. And this one doesn't feel too bad either, but yeah, they've been showing over my spot this morning. So yeah, it's been pretty hectic. This is what we know and love about Linear. The conditions haven't made it easy, but hopefully now we're on to a winner.
A key part to big hit fishing is consistency. Keep topping up the swim, give your spots time to develop, and the results will follow. With the carp safely retained, get your rods straight back out onto the spot and top up with bait. There's every chance more fish are still around, so getting the bait back out quickly is key to keeping those traps set and ready for the next capture.
Well, here is the first of what I think is a trio of 30 carp this morning, this being the biggest at the minute of 34.15. Mega looking carp. Let's get this one back and show you the next one. So there you go, this one completes the trio. 30 8 ounces, second 30 of the trip, and fish number 10 overall. Yesterday before it got dark, went into the evening with only 2 fish, and yeah, we woke up this morning, things have royally kicked off on that bait. Solid bags are working, rigs are working. Yeah, hopefully there's a few more to come. Okay, so that is what we come here for. A lovely Oxfordshire scaly, another mid-30, and some mega little scales just underneath its belly. I'm absolutely blown away now. I really thought this was going to be a difficult session. It started that way, with perseverance, steady bait application, those all important solid bags. We've finally managed to amongst a hit, and yeah, some real good ones amongst them as well. So what we're going to do next is slip this one back after we've taken a few stills, and we'll get onto that rig. Obviously it's important with any wounds on the fish to treat them. So this has got a little mark by its tail and also around its mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of the Pro Care. I'm just going to treat him. So all I do first is apply the Pro Care, and then you just get a little bit of water. The water is basically the sealant to this.
She'll heal up nicely with the Pro Care applied. Always carry some with you wherever you're fishing. With a lull in the action, let's take a look at that all-important rig that's been doing the business.
Right, so let's talk you through the rig I've been using on this session. So this is the rig that I've been using to good effect at Linear. Now if you follow me, you'll know that this is my absolute favourite solid bag rig, and I've used it for many years now, and there's good reason. The hook to land fish ratio is incredible. We've hooked 22 fish on this trip and we've landed every single one. So I'm going to talk you through the components very quickly. So the braid material itself is the 25-pound Silk Flex braid. It's a nice supple braid which is uncoated and it's perfect for your solid bag fishing. The hook itself is my absolute favourite, size 4 apex curve. Again, super sharp, really reliable, strong, and they also don't turn over every fish, which means you can get 2 or 3 fish out of them if you're careful before having to change your hook, which when you're doing this style of fishing is absolutely perfect. Just on there I've got one of our small curve kickers. That sort of just exaggerates the shank of the hook and just makes that curve shank turn aggressively every single time. And then I've got a mini hook ring swivel on there, which I've got a CC Moore Northern Special pink wafter on. Again, I've been mixing between the yellow, the orange and the pink. All three have done plenty of bites. Yellow's an absolute winner on this complex, to be honest with you, but the pink has definitely served me well as well. And all I do just to finish this rig off with is I wrap some rock bottom tungsten putty up and down it, mould it up and down it and rub it really quick, and that's just going to make sure that it weaves into the material. And then when this sinks, because you've got to imagine if this was dry, it bursts out in a bag, the chances are it's going to want to lift, whereas when you've impregnated it with that putty, just means it's going to be pinned down to the bottom every single time. And the reason I don't put a little bit of putty in the middle there is obviously when you build your bag and your hook links twist in, so the contents of your bag can basically stick to that putty and pull it off anyway. So it's just a lot neater by doing it this way. But yeah, that's my ever faithful Slip D rig. It hasn't let me down on this session, and again, it's my absolute winner.
Once again, my approach is all about topping up the swim and keeping consistent. Repetition, repetition, repetition. It really does work. When you know it's a good fish on the end, take your time. Don't rush it, and above all, enjoy the experience.
Well, we've definitely saved the best till last. £36, 15 ounces. What a mirror, what a session, and what a place Linear Fisheries is. If you're looking for your first £30 carp, there is no better place in the country than to come and get it from here. There's so many 30s in here. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody at Linear, the staff, for having us. And yeah, I hope you can take something away from this session, put it into your own fishing, whether you're coming to Linear or on your chosen lake, and hopefully you'll catch more carp.
Linear is the perfect place for sharpening your carping skills. If you can catch here, you can catch anywhere. It's all about practice. Keep it simple, stick to a plan, and the results will carry through into everyday carp angling.
So looking back at this session and what I think were the keys to the success, when we arrived and we got here, the lads in here had obviously had a few, albeit on zigs and floater fishing. I think they did have a couple off the bottom as well, so that kind of gives the game away. If you're turning up to Linear, have a drive around, speak to people, have a look on social media, find out what lakes are fishing, what swims are fishing. But when we got in this swim, like I said, the last time I actually fished this lake was in this swim, and it was for tactics a couple of years ago. And that particular spot out there, I don't know if it's a known spot or anything like that, but it's basically, I reckon it's around 8 foot deep. It's rock hard, and around it is just weed bed after weed bed, like that onion weed that absolutely stinks. The fish clearly swimming amongst it, and back then it was the exact same spot. It's not changed that whatsoever, and I chose to put 2 rods on it. Again, the usual Linear fashion is 3 rods on a spot at long range, on top of a bucket lid, all your rods, and I kind of go against that now on here, so I don't put as much bait in like we've already mentioned. I'm very precise with the spots, but then I try and make them as wide as I possibly can do. I'd rather have 2 rods spread bivvy width apart, or 2 or 3 rod lengths apart even, over a little bit of bait, just to give the fish some room to move. Like I said, they've been hammered 3 on a spot on a dustbin lid for so many years, and I'm not suggesting it's the right way. It just seems to be what works for me down here. So the 2 rods on solid bags are a massive favourite of mine. Personally, I don't think there's anything more attractive out there, and it's certainly a lot more attractive than a single hook bait. Although if I was going to go at long range and the fish were out there, I wouldn't hesitate to put a rotator rig on or something like that, just to make my life easier. But when you're fishing at 45, 50 yards, 2 solid bags is more than comfortable fishing. The amount of bait that went out there, so to start with, I think I put 10 spoms out, and that's only the midi spoms as well. And as the bites started to come thick and fast, it was 3, 4 or 5 spoms, depending on how much I mixed up at a time, after every fish. And like I said, the amount of bites I had when actually spodding over the rods was a joke. But like I said, at certain times I used to be able to come and put a bucket out there and absolutely club them. But in this weather, at this time of the year, I'm not sure that's the right way to go. But definitely those solid bags over a little bit of bait, and like I said, 2 rods, not piling all the pressure into this little corner that I'm fishing. And then the 3rd rod, we had a couple of floater chances out there in the evening. Didn't materialise, obviously. I fouled up that one in the peck, which we let slip back straight away. 2 or 3 other chances. Looking back on it, if I'd have put a zig out there over depth or just under depth, would that have been more effective? Probably. It's certainly been a lot easier, but trying to be a purist, and there's no nicer way than catching one off the surface. I stuck at it and it didn't happen. However, you know, I will be back to try that again for sure, because I know for a fact the floater water. So yeah, it's been a cracking session. I'm sure if you implement them sort of tactics into your fishing as well, don't overcrowd your spot. You don't necessarily need to go 3 on a spot all the time. Choose a tactic that you've got a lot of confidence in and give them the right amount of bait. I'm sure you'll put lots of carp on your unlucky mat too.